I think during this 40-year anniversary celebration in September, many should come because he's really, I want to say this, he is not a distant God. He's a very close God. '74, there were a lot of misunderstandings about the devotees in Germany. Most of these misunderstandings were caused by the irresponsible propaganda of the anti-sect movement, which was a part of the Christian church at that time. Now we don't find any anti-sect movement any longer. But at that time, oh, they put such propaganda. And as a result of the propaganda, the general people had sometimes a quite negative understanding of us. I remember being shot at, and only because I paid my obeisances to the Lord, so to say, to give my last obeisances. The bullet went over me. Imagine, this was the kind of climate and atmosphere. And we told Srila Prabhupada about this, that the German public was in many cases quite hostile against us. Srila Prabhupada responded to us, and he said, your struggle there in Germany is like the struggle of Prahlad against Hiranyakashipu, and you will be victorious by the mercy of Lord Narasimhadeva. And it is at that time, by Prabhupada's idea, that we started to contemplate, yes, we should have a Narasimhadeva deity.
And this was 1979, which means it's another 10 years before the so-called Iron Curtain will come down.
Yep.
And so it was really, we were very conscious that this farm was very close to the Czech-Austrian border. And so the mood was, oh, we need to have Narasimhadeva there. He needs to protect. Hansadutta Prabhu, who was the GBC for Germany when I first joined in the early 70s, was interested to install a Nrsimha deity, and he asked Srila Prabhupada about that. And Prabhupada responded, pretty sure this is how it went. He said, yes, you can do that, but he must have his own temple.
I was part of a group of 3 devotees, Ashok Kumar and Kripa Rama were the other 2, who were given the task to find a suitable farm within also our financial limits, so to say. And we went really searching all over Germany until we came to Bavaria. Now, the land which we finally decided on was the most affordable at that time. And I still remember it was on Christmas Eve. We still had not found any suitable farm. So we decided to knock at the door of farmers and asked if they knew of any good-sized farm which was willing to sell their grounds. And you can imagine people opened the door, maybe expecting the Christmas man, you know, how is he, Santa Claus, or you know, but here we were, and we were asking for the gift of a farm. So we found one, and he said that yes, in Zielberg there is one couple who seriously thinks of going to Spain because they felt it was too cold for them in Zielberg. And so they so we went on Christmas evening. It was already late, 11 o'clock.
No, really?
Yes, but we did not want to, you know, at 11 o'clock, that's not a time when you can wake someone up, or they were not waking, disturb the holy celebration. So I remember on Christmas evening, we drove with our van around what is now the temple building.
Oh my God.
And when we completed that parikrama, so to say, we knew in our hearts, this is the place where the Lord will be worshipped by his devotees. So we left this, and on the first day of Christmas, the erste Weihnachtstag, we returned back to discuss this with the people, the owners, and indeed they were very, very, let me say, they were very surprised because they had this in their mind to go to Spain. And because we came on such a day which has a lot of religious significance for them, they thought it was God himself who had finally given them the go. And they were very, let us say, very good with the, you know, they lowered the price which they had in mind, and we agreed on conditions that we could meet, you know, we paid it in installments, in other words. Yes, this is how the temple building was found by these three devotees, and these were our first impressions. We thought this is an arrangement of the Lord, who had sent one of his great devotees, Jesus Christ, on this day to planet Earth, and we felt, yes, like this.
I had a general feeling, I guess, that there would be a lot of work to do to develop the farm. The present temple building was at that time a barn, which we heard had been built in the year 1917. And it was quite run down. I mean, the roof especially was quite needing replacement, and that became our excuse, in effect. We could easily get permission to replace the roof. That sort of became a way of beginning construction on the temple. Actually, Kripa Rama had some very good taste for design. And I think it was Kripa Rama who had the idea of the mirrors, and in general the panels on the roof, on the ceiling, and these sort of knobs and all that kind of stuff. I kind of took care for designing the whole altar arrangement, the platform, and then the pujari room. How do we arrange the sink, and all those details, and also the drain system for Narasimhadev. We took certain elements. I brought these angled horse things. I brought those from India one time, and we kind of it's kind of a mix and match of different things, this gold-leafed arch behind Narasimhadev, the old one.
Yes. Probably this.
Yeah, probably. The arch itself I had carved in Mumbai, but the two vertical parts we had made in Austria. And so like that, it was a variety of sources. Well, when the deity came, first of all, he came much sooner than we expected. Suddenly he was there. And Astrada can tell about that. He came 14 months after, from the day that Astrada left from Germany. 14 months later, the deity arrived, which was really fast, considering everything.
Lord Narasimhadev arrived by ship in the harbor town Bremen. It's North Germany. So from there, German we say Spedition, expedition maybe in English, was supposed to drive him to Zielberg, to the place where our farm is. But the farmer, the driver of the LKW, got something like a panic attack. And he did something which is not proper. The expedition knew of a place where you can unload your goods. And then, so he went there and he just unloaded with a crane Lord Narasimhadev in that place in Passau, which was not the original agreement. The agreement was that he would drive, that was a contract, would drive the Lord to what is now Simhachalam. But he was panicked. I heard later someone met him or that he just felt he didn't know what came over him, that he made this mistake, so to say, in Aberstdorf. He didn't know what came. He panicked. He felt there was such an atmosphere. So Ramananda Gopal, we all think Lord Narasimhadev wanted to be brought by his devotees. He didn't want that a non-devotee who has no devotional activities to his credit, maybe a little praying from time to time, but who's not his devotee, that he brings him. He wanted that we bring him. A very endearing pastime of the Lord. He really showed he's our Lord. He really showed that. Yes.
When the deity came and Prahlad was sitting on Narasimhadev's left knee, and then we heard, no, this should be where Lakshmi sits, and so on. And some devotees were very worried about that. So one of the things I did when I went to South India was to try to get comments from South Indian priests about the particular form. So I had a photograph of Narasimhadeva with, he was not yet installed. There was no clothing, nothing, just the stone deity. And I found out where is living Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya in Hyderabad. He had been the head priest of the installation of Radha Madan Mohan in the Hyderabad temple. And Prabhupada had, I think, overseen that. So I managed to meet him. He was very nice, very friendly, and I showed him the photo, and I asked him, straight out, is this a problem that Prahlad is on the left knee? And he looked and he said, it is not standard, but it is not a problem. It was kind of like 2 years too early, or at least a year and a half as far as getting the temple ready goes. So they allowed, or they decided to put the deity in a certain room, which is, now it's one of the Grihasta flats. Yeah. And so he was just put there for storage, but I kind of made it into a workshop because I said, if we're installing him, he's got to have some dress, some ornaments. And that's not going to be so easy because of the way the deity is.
Yeah.
And so that was part of my task in India also, was to arrange. I made some forms. Again, it was all very primitive and very, very crude and awkward. But we did manage to get some things made. At some point in all of this, I heard about Gaura Keshava, the fact that he had been, really seriously learning, studying Pancharatra procedures and so on. And somehow I managed to get in contact with him. I think when we felt from the beginning that Narasimhadeva should have a really, full-on installation. It shouldn't be something that we just speculate. So then we contacted Gaura Keshava and everything was arranged.
Well, I heard that our priest, Gaura Keshava, was staying for a long amount of time, just roped in ropes. And that was part of the duty of a priest, according to an ancient ritual. And I was very impressed. Then there were, of course, many amazing features. He really made a very colorful installation.
I think Harikesh was at the farm, or maybe he came one day afterwards or something like that. He said, okay, you have to start getting things together. And so I said, okay. So I said, I will give you a big list of all the things we need for the installation. I brought a lot of the paraphernalia. And he said, the only rule that you have, the number one rule that you have is you could do whatever puja and things that you like, but just no swastikas. You cannot use that symbol in Germany. Yeah. I said, no, I understand. Okay. And so we wouldn't do that. Right. And I said, it's not part of the Pancharatric system anyway. So don't worry. The first thing that you do is that you have to do a type of Vastu Puja. for the temple. Okay, so you've done a lot of creating of the new altars and things like that. So the first thing I did was I did a fire. I had a portable pit, or maybe I made it out of bricks. Anyway, right there on the altar in front of Narasimha, and they had Narasimha sitting there, and he had. I bought beeswax from India and covered his eyes and covered Prahlad's eyes with beeswax.
Mm.
And then the first thing we do is we do a type of Vastu Homa. We do a fire sacrifice, and it's right there on the balcony there. Yeah.
The most fondest memory I had was one puja where our priest Gaura Keshava ignited a fire just by chanting mantras. You know, he took his how do you call this, shruk, or and he put it inside where there was no fire, said some mantras, and then the flames came.
I asked him about that.
Yes. I remembered this. I was so over the moon when I saw this.
So what I did was one thing that I had learned with my Pancharatric gurus is that this Sanpat Kumar is a very good showman. He's a really good showman. So he does everything in a very flamboyant way. So when I gave them the list of things to get, I asked for some certain things. So I had some chemicals that I have that will ignite, you know. So what I did was I took some of the chemicals and I put them in some cotton ball like this, and I squeezed it and I put it there, and I put the wood and everything like that. I began to chant Purushottam or some Vedic mantra, exactly what I forget, like that. And then after some time, I did some Avahana mudras, you know, like that, and the flames came, like that. So the devotees that were watching this, they were very impressed. They were very impressed.
But then I find out it was two chemicals. And even later when I found it out, so what? Chemicals are somehow it was a wonderful event.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's not that I hide anything. You know, if anybody asks me, I'll tell them exactly what I did. I showed this to my gurus in India, my Pancharatric gurus. I showed them this thing, you know, and they said it's the same. It's the same thing as if you light a match and you light it from a lamp. It's the same thing. So anyway, they really liked that. And then we did this Vastu Puja, Vastu Homa, and after we do the Vastu Homa, we have to we got some big pumpkins, and I had them draw some faces of demons on the pumpkins, and this is what they do in India. So we had some straw, and we went around and we purified the place, and we put burning camphor on top of the pumpkins and everything. And after doing the pujas and things like that, we took them out to the front of the temple. So you go outside and you smash them on the ground outside like that, and then it's called Bhuta Nivarana. You get rid of all the people who are, you know, have to do with the Vastu Purusha, because Vastu Purusha is like the soul of the building. But when we install the deity is going to become the soul of the building. The deity is like the soul of the building. The building is like his body. The temple is like his body. So we have to take that soul out first. That other one we have to remove, and then we have to put the deity in there. So we don't want any disturbance for the Lord. When we bring the Lord, we don't want to have to say to the Lord, you get rid of this. So we get rid of that personality first. So that's what we do.
I remember we had to climb up the roof and install the chakra. And we were there on a little piece of wood. And I remember for a moment thinking, oh my God, if this will break, we are so many on this little platform on the top of the roof, we will fall out from the roof and we will break our bones and so on. But then the next moment I thought, no, why do you worry? This is Lord Narasimhadeva. He carries all of us.
So the next day we started to do the regular homas in the Yagshala with the 4 fires. So there's four things that have to be worshipped in the Yagshala. It's called Chaturastan Puja. It means that there are 4 places that you have to worship. You have to worship the pots. So you have these pots with water in them, with coconuts on top, mango leaves. I don't know that we had mango leaves, but we had some sort of leaves. We had coconuts. We had a pot for Prahlad Narasimha, the main deities, which is called the Mahakumbha. And then around, I explain in the video, around those pots, we have other pots called Upakumbhas, which are smaller pots, or they might even be the same size, but they're less important. And for Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, all these different forms of Vishnu. So this is called Mahakumbha Upakumbha Puja. So that's one of the pujas. So you have to worship the deity that you're installing in the kumbha, in the water of the kumbha. You have to call Narasimha into the kumbha and worship him there. The next thing you have to do is you have to worship in Agni. You have to worship in the fire. You have to worship Narasimha in the fire. So in the water, in the fire. The third thing is you have to worship the bimba. The bimba means that the murti, the form, that's the other thing that has to be worshipped. And then finally, the fourth thing is a mandala. There's a mandala, which is sort of looks like a big yantra or a big flat two-dimensional diametric pattern with many different places on it where you install different Vishnu deities. That's called Chakrabja Mandala because it looks like a chakra with a lotus in the middle. So this Chakrabja Mandala, I made colored rice. I got rice and I colored it with different colors. And it took me a long time. It took me about six to 8 hours to make it. So we did that morning and evening. So you start out and you have to worship all the different pots and the parts and the entrances to the Yagshala. The Yagshala, we have bricks around in like a little wall around, and there'll be gaps in the wall for north, south, east, and west. And we choose the directions not according to the compass, but according to the way it's suitable for the temple. Mm-hmm. And so we did that. So then I believe that the first thing that we did is we have to do the stapana. So Prahlad Narasimha is the deity, and there's a pitam. There's a granite piece that he sits on with a spout that goes out to the right-hand side. Yeah. And he was sitting on some bricks. He was sitting up on a couple of bricks on each side. He was sitting on top. Underneath the deity, there's a square piece sticking down into a hole, and there's a square hole. Inside the hole, inside the pitam, is another piece that comes out. The pitam with the spout to the right is female. Is considered female. The deity, even if the deity is a goddess, is considered to be male, right? And the in between is considered to be Brahma, neuter. So there's a stone in between that you take out, and in that stone there are 9 3x3 indentations. There are 3 little holes in this stone. So those indentations we have to put 9 herbs, 9 grains, 9 jewels. We have to put all 9 metals, 9 precious metals. We have to put them all in there. And then on top, and then we have to do this is called Pita Ratna Nyasa. Okay. Then we have to take a yantra of Narasimha. You see on the altar there's a yantra. There's a copper yantra. Is it copper? Yeah. In a frame, right.
Yes.
The same one is underneath.
Yeah.
So the idea is that God cannot sit anywhere. He can only sit somewhere which is completely pure. So we put him on top of these jewels, which are considered pure, and then the yantra is non-different from him. The altar is considered non-different from the deity. Just like Vishnu is lying on Shesha, on the divine serpent, that Shesha is also a pure devotee, or it depends. Different people think different things, but he's also very pure. So Narasimha is sitting on Narasimha. He can't sit on anything normal. We have to provide the most pure thing for him to sit on, which is himself. So that's the yantra. Then we have to do the prana pratishtha. So for the prana pratishtha, right, we're going to invoke. I got Srila Harikesh and I said, look, you are the head of the community here, right? So I will show you how to do the prana pratishtha. I'll be right there with you, helping you do this. And I will tell you how to meditate and how to think, and I will chant the mantras, and you just do what I say. So he went in there and I said, okay, so now touch here and say this and do that and like that. So I got him through that. And so what you're doing is you're meditating upon the super soul expanding in your heart, expanding and entering into the deity, and then residing in the deity. And then you do the whole prana pratishtha where you're enlivening the different senses of the deity. And you talk about all the different senses of the deity. Okay, so we did all of that. Then we did the Netra Milanam. Netra Milanam means you open the eyes with a piece of gold. So we had a gold ring. Somebody had a gold ring, I think, and we opened the eyes. That has to be done in private. So the first thing is we want to show a mirror. We show a mirror so he can see himself. And the second thing is he wants to see Tulsi. He can see Prabhupada. He can see some nice devotees. He can see some sumangalis, which means some kanyas and sumangalis. Sumangalis means auspicious ladies who are married with children, and also kanyas, unmarried, younger girls. So we had all those people come. After that happens, then we do Abhishek. We do a big Abhishek. So right before the Abhisheka, I had all these people coming in one by one to look, and I had all the devotees stand back while the ladies came in and everything like that. But then at a certain point, I said, okay, now everybody can come in. And at that time, all the ladies, everybody got squashed because, there was a big
flood.
A big rush of people to come in the middle. And they told me later that when they had the kirtans, they had one guy leading kirtan, I think his name was Ujwala, like that. But they had some really heavy kirtans, and devotees were very, very rough in the kirtans. And I think one devotee even was knocked out during one of the kirtans. It was so wild.
Yeah, Gaura Keshava really made it into an event. He was very theatrical in a way, and this was kind of fitting. It was what we all wanted, I think. So the mood was very enthusiastic. You can see in some video, the devotees go completely bananas during one of the kirtans after the main greeting, I guess, in the temple. So yeah, there was a feeling like, okay, Narasimhadeva is here now.
Joy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a real enthusiastic mood, and Lord Narasimhadeva felt so much present that there was no other thought of Narasimhadeva. And it reminded me a little bit of the last Nrsimha Chaturasi. There I also had the feeling that Lord that then an atmosphere was generated that took all of us from the material level of consciousness or to the level, or from the level where we ordinarily are, each one in his, according to his realizations. It acted like a lift and brought us to a much higher level. What I noticed with Lord Narasimhadeva is that he is a deity who immediately responds to prayers. I know, for instance, of a couple who couldn't receive any child. They were very good devotees who prayed to him. Then a good child, very good child, was coming, and they feel to this day that it's Lord Narasimhadeva. So Lord Narasimhadeva is very present on the altar, and he immediately responds to prayers. I sometimes feel during kirtans also that Lord Narasimhadeva almost steps over the fence which separates the worshippers before the altar from the altar, and goes into the heart of the devotees. It's very active deity. I only have memories where I prayed to Lord Narasimhadeva and he answered these prayers. But these memories are all a little personal and so on. So I like to hear in a public magazine only say, go to Lord Narasimhadeva and pray to him, and you will see that miracles exist. Miracles are there. It is very good if you want to approach Lord Narasimhadeva that you make yourself familiar with his Maha Mantra, which is Ugram Virang Mahavishnum Jvalantam Savato Mukam Nishingham Bishanam Bhatram Mrityum Namamyaham. I bow down to Lord Narasimhadeva, who's ferocious and heroic, like Lord Vishnu. He's burning from every side. He's terrific, auspicious, and the death of death personified. This is so I can only recommend to all of you who read this, please learn this simple mantra, take it with you, go to Lord Narasimhadeva, say this mantra for his pleasure, and followed by all the other mantras which you know and like, and then pray for him. He's especially active in removing the inauspicious, harmful things that are maybe still in the heart, so that your path becomes very clear and easy. Never lose hope. Go to Lord Narasimhadeva and you will be a very hopeful devotee. Hare Krishna.